Peace and love. Welcome back. It's Garden Line Level. I'm the gardener, Tony Lee. I titled this video, How to Control Your Emotions, but I'll be the first one to admit, I think that's a mistake. Because I don't think you can necessarily control your emotions, but I do think you can manage your emotions. When I think about the word control, I automatically go to on or off. Because if I can control something, I should be able to turn it on or off. Like a light switch. I could turn these lights on, I could turn them off just at the flick of a switch. But when it comes to our emotions, I don't think we can necessarily just turn them off and on. Like, if you lose someone that you love, I don't think you can not be sad. It's not an emotion you can just turn off. If you haven't seen someone that you love and care for, whether if it's a mother or father, a brother or sister, a friend or a cousin, a family member, say for instance you haven't seen this person in 5 long years, I don't think you can not be happy when you see them. Remember, this is somebody that you love and care for, so if you see them after 5 years, I think you can't control yourself not to be happy. So emotions is something that we can't just control. There is no on or off switch. So if we can't control them, I believe we can manage them. And the first step to managing our emotions is awareness. We have to become more self-aware. We almost have to become observers of self, having like a God's watching eye over self. So throughout the day, what we do is kind of ask ourselves, how am I feeling right now? Also, when something happens and we find ourselves in a situation, we can ask that question, how am I feeling right now? What do I feel right now? Why am I feeling like this right now? I'm not saying we ask ourselves this all throughout the day, but just periodically sometimes, just sit back and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? That's awareness. That's actually becoming in tune with our emotions and know exactly how we feel at any particular time of the day, whether it's happy or sad. So that's the first major step, is just becoming aware of our actual emotions. The next step is acceptance. What we don't want to do is we don't want to resist our emotions. You know, like the old saying go, if you resist, it persists. So we shouldn't resist our emotions. Don't resist them, accept them. Open your doors to them. Let them come in and just deal with them as they come in. So saying that, we have to try to go to the source of exactly where these emotions come from. Our emotions are tied directly to our thoughts. Most people tie their emotions to outside circumstances or situations, but it's not the outside circumstance or the situation that we find ourselves in. It's actually our reaction towards those situations and circumstances that we find ourselves in. So if it's our reaction, and we know our reactions are tied directly to our thoughts about these situations, one way we can immediately change our emotions is by simply changing the way we think about these situations that we find ourselves in. So just literally shifting your thoughts can actually help change our emotions. And that's another way of managing our emotions. Not cutting them off, but actually just shifting them in another kind of way. By just changing the way we think or changing our thoughts about a particular circumstance that we might find ourselves in. This is how we know our emotions come directly from the thoughts we have about certain things, because what might bring you happiness might bring another person sadness, and what might bring you sadness could also bring another person happiness. Okay, so we're not trying to control our emotions, we're trying to manage our emotions. And let's go back to the steps. Step number 1 is becoming aware. Having awareness of our emotions, having awareness of the way we're feeling. The second one is accepting our emotions, not trying to deny them, not trying to resist them, but just accepting the way we feel fully and wholeheartedly. All right, now let's look at the third step. We have an emotional scale. Some's going to be at the high end on the positive side, some are going to be at the low end on the negative side. Most of us are only in tune with the emotions that's at the top on the positive side and the emotions at the bottom on the negative side. So when it comes to awareness, what we have to make sure we do is make sure we become aware of all of our emotions, not just at the top, which will be happy and joy, or the bottom, which will be anger and fear, but all the ones in between. The emotions of fulfillment, optimism, hopefulness, freedom, empowerment, encouragement. These are emotions that we also want to be in tune with, not just happiness and joy. And also on the negative emotion side, at the bottom of the emotional scale, we don't want to just be in tune with anger and fear. We want to also be in tune with jealousy, resentment, blame, worry, guilt, insecurity, bitterness. All these other different kinds of negative emotions, we also want to be in tune with them. In tune is basically saying we are aware of all of our emotions, not just the ones at the top and not just the ones at the bottom. So as we're trying to get to the third step on how to manage these emotions, what I want to do is use the imagination. For me, the imagination helps me better understand principles and strategies that I'm trying to implement in my day-to-day life. So imagine these emotions are friends and family, and your house is the place that these friends and family want to visit. Let's go back to the first two steps so we can know how to approach these friends and family as they visit. Let's go back to the first step, awareness. As we become aware, when these friends and family members come by and visit, our awareness lets us know which one is coming. And it also makes them knock. So with our awareness, we're able to know exactly which one of these emotions is coming before we let them in. The second step is acceptance. Remember, don't resist. One thing about these family members is if you don't let them in, they are coming in anyway. They might kick the door down. They might come through the window. They might come through the back door. They are going to come in regardless. So our second step is important. We accept them. Accepting them is letting them in. Let's talk about the negative emotions first. When the negative emotions come in, how we want to treat them is we let them come in, we sit them down, and we hear them out. We hear everything that they have to say. We let them explain why they are there. After we get all the details that explains why this negative emotion is in, we have to make it very clear. They cannot stay here. Remember, we're going to allow them to come in. We're going to hear their story, but they cannot stay here. They can't. Don't let the negative emotions stay. These negative emotions do not benefit you. So that's how we deal with the negative emotions. Be aware that they're coming, accept them when they do come, hear them out, and then let them go. How does that look in reality? Whenever you have these negative emotions, what you want to do is breathe. Give yourself time to breathe. Then give yourself time to understand. Give yourself time to go through the emotion. And then let it go. Now let's talk about the positive emotions when they come to visit. It's a little bit different how we handle these positive emotions when they come to visit. When they come in, there's no need for them to explain how they get there, why they're there, and what can we do to help them out. That's not what we do with the positive emotions. We do that with the negative emotions. When the positive emotions come in, what we do is we be grateful that they're there, and we encourage them to stay for as long as they want to. We don't force them to stay, we encourage them to stay. How does that look in reality? Well, it's simple. When you have these positive emotions, be grateful. Be grateful. And don't deny yourself from these positive emotions. Don't deny yourself encouragement. Don't deny yourself happiness and joy. Don't deny yourself empowerment. Don't deny yourself fulfillment. Don't deny yourself purpose. So with both of these approaches to negative emotions and positive emotions, what we want to do with the third step is just handle accordingly. Negative emotions, we hear them out and we let them leave. Positive emotions, we be grateful and we encourage them to stay. So we have awareness, acceptance, and then handle accordingly. When the negative emotions are there, no positive emotion can come in. When the positive emotions are in, the negative emotions will try to come and kick them out. But one emotion that can always stay is peace. Most people misunderstand the word peace, and they get it confused with quietness, relaxation, calm music. All these things are a tiny fragment of peace. But ultimately, peace is acceptance. Mainly accepting things you cannot control. So the way we handle these emotions, the second step is peace. Peace by accepting the things we can't control. And I have to make sure I'm very clear about this. This is not absolute truth for everyone. This is a practice that we can use to better manage our emotions. A practice. Practice these steps sometimes and see what they might do for you. That's all I have for now. Till then, I'll see you on the next one.